Hello everybody, welcome back to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge. We're going to be just in time here because Leeds and Everton... So I don't know what I'm on about today. I've got so much going through my head. Big announcement tomorrow. Leeds Man City is the game that we're live for here again. I'm a little bit late. I did say 25 past, but I was always going to be right for the kickoff. But I've been getting a load of hate online from Burnley fans. I can't think why, but yeah, getting a little bit of hate. So yeah, that could be part of it. Yeah, you understand it. You understand it. Right, no Erling Haaland for this. Can Leeds... Well, look, you know what? I think Man City win, but can Leeds dent the title hopes of Manchester City? Remember, Arsenal went here and won comfortably a couple of weeks ago as well. So I can't see it. I can't see Leeds getting anything. I think Man City will have too much for them. Yeah. So, let me have a look at... Well, you've got the teams on the screen anyway. You have spoken about it. So, Leeds lining up with... why is it not showing me lineups? Darlow, Bogle, Justin, Rodin, Struck, Goodmonson, Stack, Ampadu, Groove, Aronson and Calvert-Lewin. Man City are Donnarumma, Nunes, Diaz, Gehi, Alt-Nouri, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Cherki, O'Reilly, Mamouche and Semenyo. But I think Man City... I just think Man City will have too much, really. Haaland ain't playing. No, he's not. Louise O'Donoghue says, I don't mind the Leeds win, but I'd prefer a draw. Let me have a quick look. I want to get the table up. I want to show you the table today. Where are you? Let's be having you. Okay, so that's how the table looks as it stands. Man City would be 4 points behind Arsenal with a draw, but obviously they'll go 2 points behind them with a win. So, how are we doing in the chat? What would be worse for United fan? Arsenal quadruple or another City treble? Arsenal quadruple, Tyler. Yeah. It's mad though, isn't it? I think it's mad this season that Arsenal could win a treble, Man City could win a treble or a quadruple, or they could share them. He's got to score. What a fucking miss! Calvert-Lewin, what a miss! What a miss by Calvert-Lewin. And people said Man United should have signed him. That is... Arsenal fans are going mad. That is absolutely easy. I'm scoring this. That is so easy. That is so easy. I can't believe he's missed. Mad, absolutely mad. Huge chance for Calvert-Lewin. And Leeds should be winning here. But they're not. Is a quadruple Spurs relegation and Man City point deduction, is it too much to ask for, Mark? Says, Look, Leeds might take some confidence from that. They're in again here. Crosses over here. Oh, come on, Leeds, sort yourself out. Hello says, Mark, the real reason Haaland isn't playing is because he got injured filming with the Sidemen. Good old Sidemen. No, I mean, look, that would make it sound like I want Arsenal to win the league. Leeds look like they're up for it tonight. What are we doing tonight, everybody, anyway? Going out or staying in? Anyone going out after this? What you do? Tell me what you're doing tonight. We always do what you're eating tonight. You might be doing that. That's what. Anyway, what are you doing tonight? You staying in? You going out? Let us know. I like Saturday night down the pub. It won't be for me tonight though. Some people might be going to work, like Paul. Yeah, obviously people will be watching different times. Here in the UK, it's just approaching 6 p.m. Sniper's heading out for pints with the lads. Resident Evil for Puff the Baker. Babysitting, says Pressure. Couple of cans. Revising organic chemicals for A-levels. Yeah, well, some of you will be doing that, MVD, so yeah. It's WW Elimination Chamber. It is, yeah. Seb's very much wanting to watch that. He won't be, though. Not when he's got a final tomorrow. Says he's having a shit in the ER. Sorry, he's having a shift in the ER. I had visions of you walking into the emergency ER and just taking a dump. Caviar tonight for Jack. Al says, have you got any opinion on what's going on right now? Well, Leeds are on the attack, but I suspect you're talking about the world. As I was saying before, look, evil prospers when good people stand back and do nothing. The problem is when the bad guys think they're the good guys. And I don't know who's who anymore. I don't. But look, ultimately, Leeds have started off really well here. Calvert-Lewin and goes for a goal kick. Yeah, I think that if you don't want Iran having nuclear weapons, you don't. And I would say to anybody who is against Israel, USA, or anybody, you know, like Iran with nuclear weapons is a bad idea. They shouldn't have nuclear weapons. I wish nobody had nuclear weapons, to be honest with you. So that's my stance on it. But I don't want a world war either. And, you know, you think about Russia and what's going on with Ukraine. You just don't want this escalating at all. Life's a gift. How was the cheesecake? It's lying heavy, Ian. And you know what? I don't know whether anyone else does that. I had it. Oh, here we are. Semenyo through the middle. And a terrible shot. Why did he not pass to Mamouche? He was offside, that's why. He probably knew. I think he knew. Watch this again. Lovely ball. I think it's Rodri. He is offside. He probably knows he's offside. But why does he not just pass it into Mamouche? Maybe he didn't. Bit greedy there. Yeah, I had my slice of cheesecake. It was very nice. I nearly had another slice. If there's one thing I could change about the world, it wouldn't be this. I wish you knew when you were full. I don't like the delayed fullness because that one slice of cheesecake, I was going to have two, but I didn't have time because of the stream. It would have been a massive mistake because that one slice of cheesecake now is lying heavy. But when I ate it, I felt like I could have had more. Well, every time I have an Indian takeaway, I'm there with the rice and the curry and the naans and the poppadoms. Eat, and I feel fine. And then about 20 minutes later, I know I've had too much. What do you think Pep will do after he leaves City? Manage another club or manage international team? Says Dougie Young. I think he'll do international football at some point, won't he? Cheesecake tends to lie heavy. YBC says doesn't do politics, Bridge. Well, it's not really politics, is it? To say I don't really want countries to have nuclear weapons and I don't want people to go to war. It's not really politics, is it? It's saying I don't agree with violence, which I don't. I don't agree with violence. Out Nori's socks do my head in. Get rid of low sock and USB size shin pads. It's just another Luke Shaw. They'll stop doing it when their shin gets broke, but until then, aesthetically, they look like Prats. Neil, thank you very much. Mason, thank you very much for your super chat. Neil says, with the super chat, what is the difference between when United got Van Gaal and trying to get Nagelsmann? It's not as boring, but I personally didn't like his football at Bayern, says Neil. Well, you can't say... I could say Nagelsmann's Klopp. You're trying to say he's Van Gaal. So that to me is a poor argument. You're trying to use a negative to, dismiss a potential. Well, I could say, well, he could be the next Klopp, which would be unfair in the other way. If you don't like Nagelsmann, that's absolutely fine. But I don't think you can say he's Van Gaal. We will be just to keep you up, just to tell you, talking about Bayern Munich. Dortmund are playing Bayern Munich, so we'll be keeping an eye on that because the points gap at the top of the Bundesliga is very interesting, and Dortmund are at home. They could close the gap down to 3 points by winning tonight. Actually, that points has gone up. What happened last weekend then? Oh, Dortmund dropped points and Bayern won. The gap is now 8 points, sorry. Yeah, Dortmund drew last week, the Prats. They had a bad week, Dortmund. Actually, we'll keep an eye on it, but it's not as big as I thought it was. That's what she said. I thought the gap was 6. It's actually 8. Because they drew with Leipzig last weekend, and then got knocked out by Atalanta. I think Bayern will win that. I think their mood is going to be on the ground. Napoli are beating Verona. Rasmus. Hearts beat Aberdeen. Still got a shout. Man City starting to have a few attacks now. Leeds have started off well here. Pep won't become national team coach as he won't be able to spend hundreds of millions of pounds. I think he will do international football at some point, Pep. He's done La Liga, he's done the Bundesliga, he's done the Premier League. I mean, would he do the Italian league? Kean says, are you going to do any FA Cup watch-alongs next weekend? It depends, mate, really. It depends on what I decide to do next weekend. If I want a weekend off, I won't. But in fairness, I don't really need a weekend off because I've had quite a lot of time off this year already. So I probably will do. Play has been paused briefly to allow players to break their fast. Mamouche, Al-Nouri. What do they do then? I mean, not ignorance. I know what Ramadan's all about, and I know that you don't eat and everything like that until a certain time. But do they? Is that literally just taking on water, or do they take on like a smoothie? Is it like a Sunday lunch processed down into a drink? Because some people don't have water when they're fasting, so it might just be take some water on. Imagine trying to play football at 5:30 on an evening when you haven't taken on any water all day. I'd pass out. Just water, apparently. Apparently people were booing. Just, yeah, I don't know. It'll be a high-carb isotonic drink, says hello. Well, they'll be able to eat at half-time and they'll be able to eat afterwards as well. The worst time to do it is in the summer, isn't it? I had a couple of friends I used to work with, and when Ramadan's in the summer, it's all about daylight hours, isn't it? So obviously in the summer it gets light early and it gets dark late, so... What's up, Goldbridge and chat, says Crusher Dragon. All good, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Mark. Think about it just for a few seconds. If United didn't exist, which club in the Premier League would be the most sympathetic for you? Says Drin. I don't know. I mean, look, the first two clubs that I quite liked, beyond Manchester United, were Everton and Tottenham. So, yeah, it would have been a life of misery, really. Snoopy10 says, hi, Mark. Hope you're well. Can you believe we could go third tomorrow? All things considered, it could be a lot worse. I can believe we can go third though tomorrow, mate, because look, we're nowhere near Arsenal and Man City, and the rest of the teams have been shit. I mean, Villa are just dropping like a stone. Chelsea, incredibly crap. Liverpool are only just getting their act together. I mean, Brentford and Everton aren't far off, so I'm not surprised. We haven't played in Europe. We've only played a record low amount of games. We've got two of the best earners in the league in our first team. So, look, I think Calvert-Lewin's in. First touch is terrible. And, yeah, terrible shot. He's having a bad game, Calvert-Lewin here, isn't he? Lee Galdart says, do you respect what Wrexham have achieved? Do they deserve credit if they get promoted to the Prem? Looking good for playoffs. I haven't really watched much of Wrexham this season. I watched them last season against Birmingham City, and I did say they're going to have to sack their manager at some point because he's so route one and direct, he'll get found out. But then you look at the season that we're seeing in the Premier League, and actually that style of football is back in fashion. So I don't know whether Wrexham are playing like that this season, but if they are playing direct football, it's actually back in fashion, and they're very good at it. So, you know, Leeds should be 2-0 up, Sway, you're right. Arsenal fans know what's going to happen, though. But Man City have started off really badly here. Obviously missing Erling Haaland. Good shot, good save, Donnarumma. And Purdue. Thanks for your super chats. Have you reacted to the Champions League draw and fixtures? Says hello. Yes. Look at Rodri acting all hard. Fair, looks like a fair tackle to me. I would see that as a positive if I was Leeds. Rodri, I tell you what, it's been a good start to the game because the first 20 minutes have absolutely flown by. Are you a Bond fan? If so, who are your top three? Says Carlo. Craig, Moore, and I'm controversial. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Beatles, and I'm not a big fan of Connery as James Bond. I never really liked Connery Bond. I don't rewatch any of his films, but I would watch Dalton. I would watch Brosnan. I even liked Lazenby's film. I was never a big fan of Connery in Bond. I liked him in The Rock, which was basically an older Bond, but yeah, I never liked the Connery ones. I don't know why. I think it was just, yeah, I don't know. Are you related to Robert Arameo? I know who you're talking about. No. He was in Bloody Love Actually, wasn't he, as a kid? Leeds press is relentless at the moment, says NWK. I meant top 3 Bond films. Goldfinger's mine. I wouldn't be that big a fan, Carlo, that I could give you my top 3. I must admit, I don't really watch Bond unless it's on the normal TV. And that's normally a Daniel Craig one. Should United have permanently signed Sabitzer, says Clark? No. No. Leeds deserve a goal here. Get it! Oh, so close. It gives a bloody goal kick. Aronson nearly got on the end of it. I don't know how he can give a goal. This referee is shit. Mr. Tumble, I call, not Mr. Tumble, Mr. Guess. Just guesses at everything. How can you give a goal kick here? Maybe it was. Let's have a look. Slow it down a bit. It probably was a goal kick. You know, Man City are playing badly when Rodri crying, says Jamie Grant. Thanks for your super chat, Jamie. Leeds on the attack again, though. What are you shooting from there for? They're getting a bit excited with that. Corner. Casino Royale is a very good James Bond film. I'd be very interested to know what they do with the new James Bond, because Leeds are dominating here. They are. They're doing well. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Please do share the video. Corner to Leeds. Remember, we're live for Chelsea against Arsenal tomorrow. And Man City deal well with that. Sorry, I was just doing a bit of snooker. Yeah, got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of football on the Premier League, on that football over the next few weeks, really. Midweek this week's Prem, midweek next week's Champions League, and midweek the week after that is Champions League. So there's loads and loads. Make sure you subscribe. I love the Champions League when it gets to this stage as well, the knockouts. Why is Henry Cavill so hot, says Caleb. Well, he isn't to me. And are you going to play the new James Bond game, says Alan. I'm intrigued by this new Lord of the Rings game they're going to do, open world. World Cup playoffs at the end of the month as well. Hello. Yeah, I think we'll do some of this. We'll do some watch-alongs for that as well. I think there's going to be some good games in that. City looking a little bit lethargic here, which they shouldn't do because they've got loads of games coming up. But they are, look, Arsenal, Leeds, whatever, I would say watching this game, lovely kit. That's a lovely kit, Man City's, by the way. I would say watching this game, certainly reason for encouragement. Man City don't look at it. And in a game like this where they're not playing well, you'd be thinking, well, Haaland on the break. But they haven't got that option at the moment. So they look a little bit lost at the moment, Man City. Oh, again, nearly dropping for Leeds in the box. There's a good John Wick game coming out as well, says Imi. This year's all about GTA 6. Merry Christmas, if we get there. You speak of players like Anderson and Wharton and their performances in audition against United. I find that arrogant. Why do you use that phrasing, says Now. Well, I find your comment really rude. Why do you use that phrasing? Because it's your opinion against mine. Man United are in for Wharton and Anderson. They're going to leave this summer, and Man United are better than Palace and Forest, and we're looking for midfielders. So, of course, it would be a audition. It's not offensive, it's logic. 115 City getting relegated. United could get second, says Regular. I don't think that's going to happen this season, mate. You're going to do an F1 watch-along next Sunday? Nah. I tried to do one for the last one, and that ship sailed. I used to do them. Corner. Give a corner. Yeah. Corner to Leeds. Who's going to win the F1 this year anyway? Who's got the quickest car? That was probably not a corner, to be fair. I think it was a goal kick. Be good if Leeds did score a goal, just to make it interesting. Oh, terrible shot. And City clear it. Be nice to see Ferrari do well, but apparently Russell's favourite to win it this year. Dortmund are winning 1-0 against Bayern. Schlotterbeck. Apparently it was a wonderful goal. Do you know, thoughts on Nico Riley to score, says Ashley? Wow, he's probably not a bad bet. I mean, he sort of took on the Vardial role, hasn't he, as the goal scorer for Man City. I'm just doing a bit of stretching here. Yeah, he's took on that mantle, really. Tell you what I really think is overrated. Diaz. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think he's overrated. He's got this reputation as being one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, and yet when he plays for Portugal, I don't think he even looks like one of the best centre-backs in Portugal. What's better, says Ocean, the Hairy Lemon or Gibney's? I haven't been in Gibney's for ages, so I've got to say the Hairy Lemon. Riyad Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Mata or Bruno? Bruno. Nomad says that Henry Cavill would be a good Bond, but he's too big. Yeah, well, he is rated, Diaz, because he always gets in the bloody Premier League Team of the Year, and I just don't think he's all that. I don't think Gabriel's overrated. I think he's a brilliant defender. He's a major asset in the penalty box, attacking-wise and defensively. Leeds looking very comfortable here, you know. Man City just look a little bit dishevelled here. Who's your favourite player at the moment in the Premier League, says Andreas? Well, outside of Man United, because obviously I would say Man United. Lovely play by Nori. Goal kick. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know that we've got many exciting players in the Premier League at the moment. Premier League's very formulaic, I think, this year. It's very structured. There's not a lot of individualism or flair. You know, when you think back of like Grealish at Villa and good defending there. Actually was Diaz. Esteval, when he plays, is exciting. I actually think Ngia at I don't know how you pronounce it. Apparently it's Ngia or something like that. I actually think Ngia at Everton is a good player to watch. Morgan Rogers is a good player to watch as well. So I'd agree with those types of players. Yeah, Esteval, Rogers, Ngia. Yeah. We're back with the Bundesliga next Friday, Tommy. We've got Bayern Munich. Looking forward to that. Leeds playing good. Yeah, you feel like they need a goal, though. They've been the better side, and you want to score first. Certainly before half-time, because you feel like Pep will make changes. He has got players like Doku, Foden. They're on the attack here. And Leeds should get that Ray. Haaland, very big miss, says Doctor Strange. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You can keep Haaland quiet, but when you haven't got him at all, it's a problem. And we've said that, and I've heard Arsenal fans say it as well. If there was ever a period of time where Erling Haaland's not playing for Man City, that's when their title credentials will truly get tested. Now, it's not going to be a long form injury, is it? However, he's not here. I also thought that Haaland against Newcastle last Saturday was amazing, and he didn't score a goal. So his defensive output was fantastic. Are you managing Sidemen charity match this year? That's not my big reveal tomorrow, Sam. So as far as I know, at the moment, it would be a no. Tell you what, I didn't realise. That I didn't realise. I don't know what I was going to say. If there was one player you didn't get to see in the Premier League, who would it be? Did you miss my last super chat, says Tom. I probably just ignored it. No, I'll go back. One player I didn't see in the Premier League. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've seen all of the Premier League. Oh, one player you didn't get to see in the Premier League. Who would it be? I've read it wrong. Yeah, Ronaldinho, Batistuta, Messi would be number one. Yeah, I'd love to have seen Messi. Messi in the Premier League, one of the best players we've ever seen. I mean, obviously you could talk about Cruyff, Maradona, but they weren't even playing when the Premier League was here. Messi could have played in the Prem. Respect at Barca, but yeah, I'd like to see Messi. There's a few. Zidane. Zidane would have been nice to see in the Prem as well. As I said, Batistuta, I think he would have been very good in the Premier League. Yeah. Ronaldinho was very close to signing for Manchester United. Very, very close. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Man City just starting to go up a gear here. You do wonder how long Leeds can keep that up. Interesting corner to the back post. Well defended by Leeds. It's going to come to Bernardo Silva on the edge. Goes wide. Now Cherky. And still pushing here. It would just be typical City to score. Having not played particularly well. Arsenal can't win the league. People will start comparing Saka to Ronaldo too soon, says Pistol. Al-K, thank you very much for your super chats. Audi are in F1 this year, says World Padlock. Thank you for making us a little less lonely, Mark. We all just need a friend sometime. Love from Norway. Thank you, Tom. There we go. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Saka 5G 3A? People compared him to Salah. I don't really get the obsession with Saka. He's a very good player. He's probably not having the output he would want to have. It's a little bit like Ahmad at Man United, though. I think Ahmad's a very good player, but he's not got the output this year. Doesn't make him a bad player. It's not all about output. I mean, some people talk about Ryan Giggs and compare his output to Sadio Mane as a justification for Mane being better. You can say Mane's better, but you can't just point at output. I think Man City are looking like they're going to score in a minute. What do you think of the league introducing their own subscription service to watch all games, including 3 p.m.s? Well, it's only for Singapore, Mr. Hero Complex. I think it is a good idea. However, it won't be coming to the UK for many years because we've got a deal in place until I think 2030. So, one rule change that you think can make football better, says Nomad. Oh, I was asked this question before and I can't remember what I said. Man City have stepped this up a bit now. They've settled into the game. Starting to put crosses into the box, winning more second balls. And they're winning it all at the moment, City. Ricky says, do you think England could be deadly from corners this World Cup? Saka into Maguire will destroy teams. Not if you've heard the latest rules that are coming in. I don't think FIFA want the World Cup to be about long throw-ins and corners. And I did say this if you watch Premier League predictions with me and Robbie yesterday. I did say, and lo and behold, a day later the news came out. I did say to Robbie, I really hope the Premier League are not going to make changes to corners and throw-ins during a season, because I do think that's unfair, but I have heard that there are changes coming. And then 24 hours later, we get told about the changes that are coming for next season in the World Cup. So the World Cup, they've obviously looked at the Premier League and gone, we don't want a tournament of people crowding goalkeepers and chucking in long throw-ins. So fair play. They're basically going to introduce VAR for corners, and they're going to put in apparently it's a 5-second rule for throw-ins. So you've literally got to get the ball and throw it, which will totally stop long throw-ins. Yeah, City are controlling now front wheel. It's been dominant, but Leeds have won it back here. He's offside. He's offside. He's offside. He's not going to score anyway. Donnarumma did well. And it's a goal kick. I think he was offside there, Aronson. I might be wrong. He looked offside to me. Watch this back. Well, it's close, but I think he was off. Yeah. Oh, good chance for City there, Mamouche. Keeper got down well. Who will win the World Cup and do you rate Switzerland, says Dan. Well, Switzerland won't win the World Cup. But England could. I'm going with England. I've said it a lot. I'm very excited about England. As long as he doesn't bring back... What a save by the keeper from O'Reilly. Whoever said O'Reilly's going to score, he nearly did. Corner to City. Headed straight at the keeper, Darlow. And O'Reilly probably should have scored. City have gone up a gear in the last few minutes. Cross comes in. He should score that. He should score that. Free header, 6 yards out. That should be a goal. And Pep knows it. I heard you announce Champions League rights. Congratulations, Mark, says Ricky. Yeah. No. Headed away by Leeds. As a United fan, if City wins the league, is no one cares. They have no fans. But if Arsenal win it, they'll talk about it till 2040. Says Pistol. Well, 5 minutes to go to half time. I'm not yawning because the game's bad. I'm yawning because I'm tired. I don't know why I'm tired, actually. I haven't really done a hell of a lot. Weekend ting. So I got a chance to whip a cross in here, City. They started to take control of the game. Headed away. Leeds have defended set pieces quite well. It's a shame they didn't get the goal in the first half an hour when they were on top, because this is the danger. Man City aren't going to stay suppressed for a long time, and they're pushing Leeds closer and closer back. And that wasn't happening at all. Brilliant feat by Nico Riley there. You see that? Control. He's got to play for England. I don't know whether actually it was brilliant feat. I don't think he meant it. I don't think he meant the other bit. The first bit was brilliant. Yeah, but the reason I think England could win the World Cup is when you look at the team, if he picks it right, you could have Reece James at right back, Nico O'Reilly or Lewis Hall at centre back. Obviously Pickford will go in goal. Gahey and maybe Konza, or I don't think Stones will be fit at centre back. Rice, Anderson, and then Bellingham or Rodgers or Palmer, and then Rashford, Saka, and Kane. I think it'll work really well. Do your England 26? Oh, I don't care enough to do it. So, well, look, Hayden's right. One of the South American teams should win it because it's a hot climate. I'm just looking at that Jordan Pickford save from Tonali. It's good, wasn't it? Come on, Leeds. Nearly at half-time. Little knock into Calvert-Lewin. And Donnarumma's there. Still 1-0 to Dortmund. At home to Bayern. Bayern have been behind at half-time many times this season and come back and win like 4-1. So I am doing the 8 p.m. show tonight, Tommy. Busy day today. I wasn't going to do this game, but I'm actually glad I did because I thought Man City would just, you know, like Arsenal did to Leeds, and it was basically over. Fair play to Leeds. They're actually making it interesting. And to be fair, I say I wasn't going to do it. It would be silly not to. I mean, it's the title race, isn't it? And Leeds technically still could get relegated. I think they'd be very, very unlucky to get relegated, and I don't think they deserve to get relegated, but they are currently on 32 points, which is not quite safe. 7 points from relegation. Oh, I've just been offered a cup of tea. Yes, please. Lovely play by Nori. Deflection. Amouche, Rodri, they're pushing. Two minutes added on. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. If City lose this, it's Arsenal's unfortunate. At least it's Hayden. I think there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go. I mean, there's a long way to go. I think Arsenal need to beat Chelsea tomorrow, no matter what. And that is a difficult game. Chelsea seem to raise it against Arsenal. And as much as people laugh at Chelsea for drawing with Burnley and Leeds, it doesn't surprise me with Chelsea because I think Chelsea are a good team. They're just toothless. They don't score enough goals. Portugal ain't winning the World Cup with Martinez in charge. Also, I think, with all due respect, I love Ronaldo, but I think Portugal probably don't sub him enough. He plays too many minutes. We're about to hit half time here if Leeds can hit it. Chelsea seem to raise their levels against City, commas. They haven't beaten Arsenal in 10 games. Played very well against them at Stamford Bridge. There's the goal. There's the goal. Right on half time. Semenyo. What can you say? I felt it was coming. For the last 15 minutes, City have just took hold of this game, and I think Leeds needed to score in the first half an hour. They missed big chances, and then City have scored. They've taken their chance. I think the referee missed a foul in the build-up. I think he missed a foul on the Leeds player, which obviously kept City's attack going. But look, this is lovely play. Lovely ball into Nori. Cut back cross. It's a lovely goal. It's a good goal. You talk about open play goals. It's really good. And you're not going to stop that. Open goal for Semenyo. Lovely play by Nori. Brilliant pass by Cherki. And it's a tap in for Semenyo. And you're not going to miss Haaland when you've got quality like that in the build-up. I thought I genuinely think there was a foul that the referee didn't give. I think this referee's shite anyway. Seems allergic to giving free kicks against Man City. But he wouldn't be the first. And it won't get spoken about. But I thought there was a definite foul by O'Reilly on Aronson. And he just went, no, play on. Anyway, it's half time. And it's 1-0 to City. You can't deny it was a good goal. And, you know, they're not in charge of the officials. The PGMOL are. Arsenal back in the mud says, well, look, City have to do their job, and at the moment they are. And if you look at the league table, this is how it looks at the moment. And the great thing about playing first, if you win, is that, look, you're 2 points off Arsenal. You got a game in hand. Well, you haven't got a game in hand at the moment, but you will have a game in hand tomorrow. And if Arsenal were to draw and you win your game in hand, you've got a chance to go above them. And they've got to go to the Emirates. So it's still very much to play for if Man City can keep winning. And you do feel like... You feel like Leeds gave it a big go in the first half an hour. I mean, 2 big misses. The miss by Calvert-Lewin is incredible. They gave it a good go in the first half an hour. And I'm sure Arsenal fans would look at it and go, Man City are going to score at some point because Leeds have missed their chances. And in fairness to City, for the 15 minutes before the goal, they got the grip of the game. First half an hour was a little bit different, but they got the grip of the game. Kevin says, I did say Leeds better put one of their chances away, and they didn't. Exactly. Arsenal have Chelsea, bro. I know. We've just been talking about that. Marzipan says, it's boring now. Having a tough season, just go out and pump even more millions for Semenyo and Gahey and go again. They're a juggernaut. They're a juggernaut. Mark can't stand City, says Jim. Well, I don't like City because I'm a United fan, so it's obvious there's rivalry in football. However, if you've been watching the channel this year, I've probably been more positive towards City than I've ever been. I've said they definitely play the best football in the Premier League this season. And that's where it ends. But look, I wouldn't normally acknowledge that. I don't normally like the way Man City play football, but I think this season they've definitely played the best football. I don't like them. I don't want them to win the league, but they have played the best football, and that was a brilliant goal. I love a goal like that. It's just, it's so good it looks so simple. Leeds can't do anything about it. Nicholas says, what made you want to get into YouTube? I sort of fell into YouTube. I wanted to do something where you can talk and interact and communicate with people about football, because I felt we were just being spoon-fed scripted bullshit. Nomad Ian says, Kane's game must change. Can't drop deep and crowd the midfield. I remember that was an issue in the Euros. You need pace to create space for others. I think he can do that as long as he's got players running past him. And he has, for Bayern, he's got people like Gnabry and Diaz and Elise and Musiala. And for England, we can do that with Rashford and Palmer and Bellingham and Rodgers and Saka. So what you can't have with Kane is an Odegaard or a Bruno, because they're not going to run past, they're not quick enough. So you've got to have pace around Kane for it to work. And it's worked very well at Bayern. Gub and Jack, thank you very much for your super chats. Thank you very much. Do you think it's over? No, I don't think it's over. I think City, in my opinion, were always going to win the game. They don't have Erling Haaland. Leeds have shown that they can get at them, but you've got to take your chances. You've got to take your chances in any game. You've got to take your chances, and Leeds have got to do that. I'm sure they'll have a go. Dinner's in the microwave. Lovely cup of tea. It's blue. It's not a good sign. Although, my backlight's blue. In fact, my backlight's light blue. There's your City hater. Think Phil Foden will get in the England squad? I think Phil Foden, Luke Shaw shouldn't be anywhere near an England squad. Are they good enough to be in an England squad? Yes. Are there better players than them? Yes. So the thing I like about Tuchel so far is that he's resisted reputation. The problem is the British media are obsessed with reputation, but how you could want to take Luke Shaw for England when you've got Lewis Hall and Nico O'Reilly is baffling. Just don't take him. But I fear that he might go and do something like that. But I wouldn't take him. And at the moment, I think Foden might make the squad, but he can't really understand. Robinson says the rumor is Haaland is out due to a Sidemen video. I very much doubt that Sidemen video was recorded this week, although I don't know whether it's out or not. Look, players do extracurricular things and they have to be authorised by the club. So I doubt that's the case. But even if it was, players don't walk around in bubble suits when they're not playing for their football club. You know, they go shopping, they do things, you know, it's the way it is. Rahan says, you used to love Luke Shaw and now you honestly can't stand him. I would love to know what made you change your mind. Yeah, I did. I used to back Luke Shaw a hell of a lot. I really did like him as a player. I don't know the person, so it's always about the player. But as a player, I think I checked out when he got injured in the February, didn't play for Man United again, didn't even play in the FA Cup final, went to the Euros, injured, got himself fit for the semi-final, played in the final, and then got injured and didn't play for Man United again till the December. So basically spent a whole year injured for Man United, but got himself fit for England, which I blame Man United for as well. But when he did that, I was like, nah, you're not what I think a Man United player should be. And there might be other people who are like that, but I sort of checked out then. You know, you get paid close to 200 grand a week and it's country before club. So I was just like, nah. And also, he's approaching 30 now and he's hardly ever fit, although this season he's been fit for every game. So it's time to move on from Luke Shaw. That's my opinion. It's not a, you know, I don't think he's the player he was 3 years ago either. I actually don't think he's playing very well either. I think people are confusing availability for ability. I think he's been available for every game this season. I don't think he's played well. Certainly not at left back. So, I actually just don't. I think he was playing well as a left-sided centre back in a back three, but I don't think he's played well at left back. He averages like, I think Anthony Robinson at Fulham averages nearly 5 crosses per game. I think Lewis Hall is like 3 a game. Luke Shaw is like 1.2 crosses per game. Anyway, I'll answer the questions. You throw them in. Would you take Harry Maguire? The thing about Harry is he's doing really well, and it's all about experience. But the thing about Harry Maguire, and it is to be admired, is it's not experience. He wants to play. So, would you start him for England? No. As a squad centre-back, maybe. But Harry will want to play. And the way he trains, he can force himself into the team. And I think if Harry Maguire's starting for England in a back four, I worry about the lack of pace. So, part of the squad, possibly, but I wouldn't start him. Would you consider Calvert-Lewin over Watkins? I think England's striking options are not great. If anything happens to Harry Kane, over. The World Cup's gone. You've got one of the world's best strikers, and the drop-off is incredible this season. Worse than it's ever been. Like, Ollie Watkins is having a terrible season at Villa. Obviously, Tony's in Saudi. Calvert-Lewin come on. Who would have been talking about Calvert-Lewin as an England striker 2 years ago? So I think that the striker options beyond Kane are really concerning. But the striker options in football in general are really strange. I mean, I don't want to hark back and be Jack and Ori, but when I was a kid, the 90s, the mid-90s, I'm talking like Euro 96, Ian Wright, Les Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole, Stan Collymore, Chris Armstrong. There's more. There's definitely more. I've probably missed somebody really good already. Like, we just had an abundance of strikers in the game. I don't know what's going on in youth football. When I used to play, you remember lunchtime at school? You might still do it. We used to call it World Cup. So, 1 goal, goalkeeper, kicks the ball out, 7 or 8 of you pick a country, score a goal, you go and sit behind the goal, last 2, whoever loses, they're out next round. Some people used to call it Wembley, right? There'd be people who, I always wanted to go and get the ball, take people on, shoot. Some people would just stand around near the goalkeeper waiting for rebounds and score. Their output for lunchtime would probably be 4 tap-ins and very little energy. People used to love playing as a striker. I don't know what's going wrong. You know, I go and watch Seb play and train and stuff, and there's some kids can absolutely bury it accurately. But I don't. There's a real lack, and I don't think striker's a hard position to play. I think being a number 10 or a winger or even, you know, that they take numerous attributes. Striker, strength, pace, finishing, it's pretty. And we just have a real lack of quality strikers in the English game and coming through. I mean, who's coming through after Harry Kane? People were talking about Liam Delap. Look, fair play to him. He's not bad, but who are the young strikers? There's a real problem here, and it's not being addressed and it's not being spoken about. After Harry Kane, where have all the strikers gone? They're a dying breed. Where are they? I don't hear of great strikers coming through at Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Man United. Where are all the strikers? Where have they gone? We must have some youngsters playing. We must have some dads who've got kids who want to play. Get them playing up front. I don't know whether it's because people don't want to play up front because they feel like, oh, they're not in the game. But you are in the game. You are in the game. You can link up. You can run in behind. Yeah. We need more strikers in the English game. I don't know whether it's reflected around the world. I mean, who are the great strikers coming through? Erling Haaland, Mbappe, Kane, Lewandowski. They'd still be in the top 5 strikers in the world, wouldn't they? Osman, again, he's quite old. Sesko, yeah, we need more strikers. We need more strikers. I mean, look, I've never had an issue, and I never played as a striker. I've never played as a striker. I've played on the wing, played in the midfield, played at centre-back, played left-back. I've never had a problem that the striker is the guy that gets all the credit. Because they're the guy who scores all the goals. Interesting chat at half-time anyway. But yeah, we need more strikers in the game. We really do. We need more strikers in the game. Nonsense. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We are moving towards 459,000. We're at 1.458 subscribers, 1.458 million subscribers. We're trying to get to 1.5 million by the end of the season, which is May. So we've still got March, April, May. We could get 40,000 subscribers in that time, but we've got to push it. So keep talking about That's Football. Keep sharing the video. 1.5 million for the end of the season would be great. And don't forget tomorrow, subscribe bottom right hand corner. Don't forget tomorrow, the big announcement should be coming in. I'm looking forward to telling you about the next step for That's Football. And that will be announced tomorrow. So very excited about it. Looking forward to it. It's a win for us. The community is part of everything and you'll have a big part to play in this. So we're looking forward to it. Just catch up here. The last player to score against Arsenal for Chelsea at the Emirates was Madueke. What's your thoughts on the Champions League draw? Says Charlie. Let me just get the players coming out here. Let me just get this right because there's a couple of things I'm not too sure about. So that's not what I wanted to look at. Champions League. This is the one I want to look at. So, where is it? No, that's not what I want to look at either. I wanted to look at the pathway. There it is. Oh, I knew it. Why are all the why is every bloody website now subscription based? Piss off. I'm not paying to look at something you don't own. Knobheads. Right, so Arsenal have their 16. So Arsenal are playing Leverkusen, and they'll play the winner of Sporting or Bodo Glimt. So I think Arsenal have come out of this quite good. I'm not saying they can't get knocked out by any of those teams, but I think for Arsenal, the pathway to the semi-final is looking good. We're about to start the second half here. Can Leeds get back into it? We'll see. I will come back to the Champions League, but I'm just wary that we get the timer right here because it saves me time. There we are. Thank you. So second half's up and running. How did you rate Pickford against other world-class goalkeepers? I don't, Red Devil Girl. I don't think Jordan Pickford's a world-class goalkeeper. I never have. I think he's England's best goalkeeper, and it's took me time to accept that. I never rated Pickford. My issue with Pickford is I think he's erratic, which goalkeepers can be. I think he's erratic and makes too many mistakes. But he is England's best goalkeeper. I accept that. I don't think he's a world-class goalkeeper. And I don't think he's anywhere near Donnarumma or Alisson or Raya or people like that. But he's England's best goalkeeper. And again, I would say that the quality of English goalkeeping has dropped off as well. We used to produce some of the best goalkeepers in the world. We don't do that anymore either. Serie A coming to That's Football, lads. Let's go, says Dabby. And what got you into other football games besides Premier League, says Bailey Darley. I just love football. I love football. Always have loved football. You know, like as a kid, I'd get Sabutio and buy teams like Juventus and Sporting, and you know, go down the shop. I've always been fascinated by football, and I think you're very lucky if you're a younger person today because football's so accessible. If I'd have been alive, if I'd have been like 12 now, I'd be watching Brazilian football, MLS. I just love football, but it wasn't as accessible for us. There are no striking partnerships. 4-4-2 says Keel. Sesko scores a goal every 45 to 49 meaningful minutes, says Juan. Thank you very much for that. I don't know how he does that because he actually wasn't prolific at Leipzig, but you might be talking about Man United. But that doesn't matter either because Isak at Sociedad, was he at Sociedad before Newcastle? He didn't score. I mean, Liverpool fans won't like to hear this, but Isak, before he came to Newcastle, actually wasn't very prolific. And then he was prolific at Newcastle. Imagine if it was a glitch. Imagine if you paid £150 million for a glitch. But he wasn't prolific before he went to Newcastle. Joe Hart or Pickford, says it's Yoshi. I think Pickford's better than Joe Hart, isn't he? To be fair. Yeah. Can we start a campaign to find Delit, says Abraham. Thank you very much for that. I think for City, second goal and it's over. Leeds have just got to try and up the tempo a little bit. Would I buy Van der Ven? I think Van der Ven's overrated, mate. I really do. I don't think you can be a centre-back that's supposedly top class that plays in a team that is flirting with relegation for the second year in a row. I just don't think if you had somebody like Van Dijk or Gabriel playing at centre-back for Spurs, they'd be in relegation battles. I know one player can't always be responsible, but might as well call a day on this one. Game's done, says Niall. Oh, I don't know. Have you seen the Prem today? Incredible. 3-0. Brentford led against Burnley. 3-3. They won it at the end. And a great block there. Calvert-Lewin. Brilliant defending by Nunes. So this is what I mean. Welcome to the Members Club. Clem, hope you're doing well. Calvert-Lewin doesn't look like he's got his shooting boots on tonight. As KVN says, it looks like he couldn't hit a barn door. Hello says, that's like saying Vardy isn't class because he got relegated. Well, no, it isn't, mate. I knew somebody'd fall into it. If you're a striker playing in a team that's shit and you get relegated, how's it your fault? You might not get any service. If you're a centre-back and you're playing in a team that's second, you know, in a relegation battle year after year, you've got to start looking at yourself. You're meant to organise your defence. You know, you're playing at centre-back. You should be able to make an impact on your losing games. What I'm saying with Van der Ven is I think he's decent, but I don't... People talk about spending 60 million quid on him. I don't think he's that. That's wild by Leeds. Let's talk about the Champions League. So I forgot to talk about that. So, Champions League draw. Arsenal play Leverkusen, and then they'll play the winner of Sporting or Bodo Glimt, which basically takes you to the end of May. So I think Arsenal would look at it and go, 2 games against Leverkusen. If they can win them, 2 games against Bodo Glimt or Sporting. So, is that as taxing as Man City have got to play 2 games against Real Madrid? And then if they win that, probably Bayern Munich, if Bayern Munich beat Atalanta, all before the end of May. And you've got Premier League games. So I think that for Arsenal, and games aren't won on paper, it looks good for Arsenal to get to the semi-final without playing one of the top teams. Whereas for Man City to get to the semi-final, they're going to have to beat 2 of the best teams, Real Madrid and potentially Bayern Munich. So I think the draw was good for Arsenal and not so good for Man City. Other side, Spurs play Atletico Madrid and then play the winners of Barcelona and Newcastle. I could see Barcelona being the team that comes out of those 4, to be fair. It'd be interesting if Atletico Madrid got through, because with their La Liga experience, maybe against Barcelona it would work, but I think Spurs would get put to the sword, and I think Newcastle will as well. And then the other side, PSG-Chelsea will be an interesting game. Galatasaray-Liverpool. I wouldn't rule Galatasaray out. So I'm very excited about the Champions League. I think Barcelona are probably going to knock out Newcastle and Spurs. Chelsea have got to play PSG, the holders, and then they could play Liverpool. Man City are playing Real Madrid and then probably Bayern Munich. So Arsenal have probably got, when you look at it, Arsenal haven't got, to get to the semi-final, Arsenal haven't got to play PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, or any English club. So for Arsenal, I'm not saying it's easy, but they've had it good. And they'll be very interested by Man City having to play so many difficult games when it comes to the title race. Which is why it's really important that Man City win tonight. You don't want to be... It's like what I was saying about Aston Villa. Aston Villa know they've got to start playing Thursday night football very soon. So win your Premier League games before you do that, and they haven't. Thanks for your super chats tonight, by the way. Appreciate that. As an Arsenal fan, I think Man City will win the league quite comfortably, says Niall. We don't seem to have the minerals to get over the line. Hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, look, it's your club, mate, and I can understand, based on previous years, why you might have concerns. I think sometimes people confuse minerals with watchability. Man City are a better team to watch. Arsenal have got more points. Fast pace to this game at the moment. Newcastle's next 5 games: United, City, Barcelona, Chelsea, Barca. Offside, can't believe it. They'll be desperate to beat United on Wednesday, won't they? I mean, they haven't won a game in... I think they've won 1 game in their last 7 in the Premier League, Newcastle. And looking at those next few fixtures as well, their season's going to be over. They desperately need a win, don't they? Trouble with Newcastle is they've lost the whole it's hard to go to St James's Park. I think Brentford have won there, Villa have won there, Everton have won there. That's 9 points normally. Dabby says, drama queen Niall Joyce. Arsenal will get chewed up and ripped apart against the first decent they come up against in the Champions League over 2 legs, says Default. Look, I really hope Barcelona get to the semi-final and Arsenal. That would be a great semi-final. And I hope that the other semi-final is either PSG Bayern or PSG Liverpool or Chelsea. I think the Champions League is going to be really good. The only thing that worries me is injuries between now and the World Cup. Because I think there's so many... You look around Europe and in the Premier League, there's so many interesting title races. The Champions League is really competitive. There's so much football. And you just think, we're in that area now where any player that's going to the World Cup that does even an injury that's a couple of months puts themselves potentially out. Jeff's, oh yeah, we're not reading that. Arsenal to comments saying Arsenal get ripped apart, keep dreaming, says Stacey. Ryan says about Newcastle, they've relied so much on one player. With Bruno being out for the season, they seem absolutely lost. Is Gomes out for the season? Because he's actually going to want to go to the World Cup, isn't he? Fantastic super chat here from Friday Night Whites. He says, feel sorry for young fans. No character in football now. No Keane versus Vieira. No Gaza, Cantona. No flying wingers. Where once all clubs had them, it's crap. Well, I remember Dalian Atkinson's goal for Villa. Remember that goal he scored? Like, it wasn't... You had this amazing flair and individuality and passion, but it wasn't just the top clubs. You'd turn on Match of the Day and you'd see like Dalian Atkinson running through the whole of, was it Oldham's team, and then chipping the goalkeeper. You had King Clancy at Man City before they were any good. JJ Okocha at Bolton. You had all sorts of players. Cherky's just kicked out here. I don't think he'll get booked for it, but... I don't know what he was doing there, Cherky. He sort of took the ball and then trod on his leg. A bit weird. I don't know. I don't think he did it on purpose. He's all right. He's not going to get booked. Stone Roses says, yeah, it's sanitised pants now. Rich crowd. Academy's coaching, skill and flair out of players. 0 personalities. It's interesting what you say about crowds, because we're on That's Football here. So obviously different fans, different experiences. And you know, I don't pretend to follow ticket pricing at every other club. But Man United's financials came out this week. Hold on a minute. Good defending there by Diaz, to be fair. And again. Yeah, Man United's financials came out this week. And we made... It was only for like the quarter up to December. But compared to last year, we made the same amount of money from match day revenue than we did last year, but we played 5 less games. So Man United made the same amount of money this season from the same set of games up to this. But basically, we played 5 games less, but made the same amount of money because we increased the ticket prices. We made the same amount of money from 5 games less, basically, because we've increased the ticket prices. So not only is it bad because the fans are paying for Man United's failure, but also you're pricing people out of football. It is becoming a rich person's game to come and watch. It's not. You're telling me that an ordinary working person can afford to pay another 30% for a ticket. Bayern have equalised. Kane could be Ballon d'Or, says Doctor Strange. Semenyo is a unit, isn't he? He reminds me a bit of Elise with that move from Bournemouth to Man City. It's incredible player.
Yeah, but it leaves a bad taste in the mouth when the working person's game is just basically becoming a rich person's game. Ollie says, can you predict the top four for me? Arsenal first, Man City second, Man United third, Liverpool fourth. I think United will get third because we're not in Europe. And at some point, I think Chelsea, Liverpool and Villa are just going to have to prioritise things and they'll drop points because of it. I also think it will get to a point for like Liverpool, if they know they're going to be in the top five, they might rest players in the Prem to focus on the Champions League. Depends on what happens, really. Oh, Man City crowding a referee before, again, all on ref cam. And we would literally have the evidence of them crowding a referee. Don't worry, though. Do you think Villa will drop out? If Villa do drop out the top five, I really hope that they win the Europa League. Because to go from like being in a bit of a title race to back in the Europa League again seems a little bit harsh on them. But they haven't got the squad to do both. They've got a massive game on Wednesday against Chelsea at Villa Park. If they can win that, what would the gap be between Villa and Chelsea? If Chelsea lose tomorrow, it's a 6-point gap. If they beat Chelsea, it's a 9-point gap with 10 games to go. That game at Villa Park on Wednesday is huge. If they can beat Chelsea, that could be horrific for Chelsea. But I do hold on. Here's Mamouche blocked. Oh, back post nearly. Just goes wide. I do think that, as I said in the first half, though, you have to understand that Villa in January lost their midfield three. They lost McGinn, Kamara and Tielemans for 3 months. And I don't think there's any team in world football that can lose their starting midfield three and expect to have a good end to the season. So people can say, oh, Villa are running out of steam. They've also lost their midfield. Remember when Man United, Carrick's first game? We played Man City. Their whole back four was out. Aston Villa have got a very difficult path in the Europa League as well. I'm very ignorant here, but BBC... No, that's not what I want to look at. Europa League. Oh, pathway. No, that's last year. Man United are on it. I was getting excited then. We're in the bloody Europa League. We're in the Europa League. Have they done? They might not have done it yet. I don't think they've done it yet because all I can see is last year. Oh no, here we go. So Villa, Aston, yeah, they're on the tough side. They're on the wrong side of this draw. You've got Stuttgart, Porto will play Forest or Midtjylland, and then Bologna, Roma, and Lille and Villa. So you're on the wrong side of the draw. Other side of the draw is Lyon, Celta Vigo, Freiburg, Genk, Betis, Panathinaikos, Braga, and Ferencváros. Whereas the other side of the draw is Stuttgart, Porto, Forest, Midtjylland, Bologna, Roma, Lille and Villa. So it is a tough side to the draw. Stuttgart are good. Porto are good. Roma, I don't know how they're doing this year. Obviously, Forest are there as well. Yeah, it's a tough draw. But it's interesting from Forest's point of view, though, isn't it? Because you get past Midtjylland and then you're going to play Stuttgart or Porto. Niall Joyce says, can I ask you why you're so confident Arsenal will win the league, or do you just really not want City to win it again? We've been here before. I predicted that Arsenal would win the league before the season started, so I'm just sort of sticking to what I said. Really. It's not confidence, I just think Arsenal will win the league, and beyond my prediction at the start, I just think Arsenal have got a very good defence. Malen on fire for Roma. I mean, that's not good for Villa, is it? You sell him to Roma and then he knocks you out of the tournament. I mean, that's... I suppose the money's what you go for at the end of the day, isn't it? But that would be very embarrassing for Villa if Malen knocked them out. Look, I think the title race is going to be close, isn't it? Man City and Arsenal. But I feel like this is going to be Arsenal's year. I think Leeds will get a goal. Well, I think while it's 1-0, there's a chance. But they're gonna have to start committing in a minute. Edge of the box. Ooh. Out Nori! Oh, I thought he did that well. Sorry, everybody. I thought he did that well. I think he hit it okay, but I thought he hit it better than he did. Let's have a look. The trajectory was right. Nah, it was miles away. The height was right. The curl was right. The accuracy was off. Hazza says, as a hypothetical, what do you think about the Premier League introducing a relegation playoff? I think it's a bad idea. Yeah, Sabinho's come on. I think it's a bad idea. You know, it's always been 3 up, 3 down. I think if you start bringing playoffs in, it benefits the teams who are going down. I mean, can you imagine if, like, West Ham played a playoff against Hull? They'd win. The whole point of being promoted is the access to the funds to build a better team. You shouldn't have to do that. I think a relegation playoff's unfair. But it's not a bad take, because obviously some clubs do it. Some leagues do it. I think the Bundesliga does it, actually. But I think it's unfair, because naturally the advantage is with the team that's coming down from the stronger league. Looks like Reinders might be coming on here for Man City. What's your best 11 for the England team, says Tom? I'll get into that towards the, when it starts. I don't care enough about international football during the proper season to start getting excited about what England's best 11 is. I think we've got a good chance of winning it. I think we've got some good players. But I'd be lying if I said I really started thinking about what the best centre-back partnership is and who should play behind Kane at the moment. I'm sort of like, let's see where we are in the summer. Malin is at Roma on loan from Villa, says Mr. Tomba. Well, I don't know what the rule is then, because if it was the Premier League, ow, what have I just done? If it's the Premier League, then he wouldn't be able to play. But I don't know how it works for the Europa. Maybe he will be able to play, I don't know. Joel says, Man City have been leaving games open to the equaliser recently, last game too. But it doesn't matter whether you win 1-0 or 4-0, does it? You still get 3 points. So if City can defend it out, and Gehi has played very well for them since he's gone in. Lovely play by Cherky. He's had a good game. Relearning the game, Malin can play against Villa. Michael says, what did you think about the 2 VAR decisions against Burnley today? First one was marginal but correct with handball. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. If you know, you know. They massively helped me out. That's the beauty of the game. No, I only saw I saw the Barnes one. Semenyo, great block. That could have been the game. Struck with a brilliant block from Semenyo, and I would have put money on him scoring there. Gets it onto his left. And you really do think he's going to score here. But the keeper, the defender did well to block it. Yeah, Barnes definitely used his hand. They were right to rule that out. I tell you what, to be fair, this game has actually gone a lot quicker than I thought. Ankit says it wasn't conclusive, mate. Get yourself a pair of these, mate. The ball. What a save by the keeper. What a save. I think it was Gehi. The new signings are doing the business for Man City here. Pushing for that second goal. Cherky. Another block. Feels like a Man City second might be coming in. I wish we were doing the Old Firm game tomorrow, says Viking Cryptic Warrior. I have done the Old Firm before. Yeah, that's a great save by the goalkeeper. Gehi, he's headed that perfectly. Perfect header. Really good save by the keeper. Is there any player post Sir Alex that United has let go that you really regret as a fan? For me, it's Di Maria. Well, I don't regret Sid. I hope that's not rage bait. Why would I regret Di Maria? He was a knobhead. Herrera. I regret Herrera. I think he went too soon. Well, Grove got his own back on Cherky there. Remember, it was... wasn't much in it. It wasn't even much of a foul, to be fair. Bayern have got a penalty. I told you, Bayern are losing loads of games at half-time, and they always win the second half. Start, bench, sell. Liverpool midfield, new midfield, Chelsea midfield, Newcastle midfield, sorry, says Yai. Well, this season, you'd sell Newcastle's midfield. I would... It's close between Liverpool and Chelsea's midfield this year. I mean, Chelsea's best midfield is probably Enzo, Caicedo and Palmer. Whereas Liverpool's best midfield is McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. And I don't think either midfield has played to their best this season. At their best, Liverpool have won a bloody Premier League with it. So it's tough. This season, probably Chelsea's midfield. We owe rival clubs 422 million in transfer fees with 238 million due within a year. Champions League qualification is now crucial as it would bring in at least 100 million and a 1.3 billion debt despite 32.6 million operating profit, says Ashish. Yeah, but that operating profit's a load of bollocks, mate, because it doesn't include transfers or debt interest. Well, if Leeds are going to get back into this game, they've got to start attacking. And at the moment, it's Man City who are doing more of the attacking. Nonto's coming on. And Dan James, a little bit more direct. A little bit more attacking in the last 15 minutes. Did Bayern score a penalty? They did. It's 2-1. It's Kane. That will be the title for them. I tell you what, for Bayern, though, that's a positive. If he can wrap the title up and focus on the Champions League. There we go. Long throw in. This will be a thing of the past next season. You won't be able to take this long. That is a long throw. Donnarumma gets hold of it. Have you got Hearts winning the league, says Jonas? I don't think Hearts will win the league. I don't think they'll hold on. I'd love it. It'd be brilliant for Scottish football, unless you're a Rangers or Celtic fan. But it's been like, what, 40 years since a non-Glasgow club won the Premier League in Scotland, or the Premiership. Lovely feat by Rounders, and a free kick. Can Kane come back to the Premier League to break Shearer's record? I don't know whether he's that bothered, mate. It depends whether he's bothered or not. Would you watch old Premier League games as a reaction? I love going back to watch old games, says Bailey. I like it, but no one else is interested in it. I remember like when COVID was on and we did watch-alongs for like classic Man United games like the 99 final, the 08 final, and hardly anybody tuned in. I don't think nostalgia really works that well in football. It has an audience, but I don't think it's a huge audience. Gahey's down here. It's just a bit of a collision between the two. Yeah, just kicked each other, didn't they? Pratt Yakshit says, can Chelsea come top four? I wouldn't have thought so. Old game watch along. Oh, with the actual footage. I think people might watch that. Yeah. I'm on the United stand at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I've just not set it up. Good play by the keeper. I mean, it's only 7:10. I'll set it up in a minute. 12 minutes to go here. I didn't realise that Dortmund Bayern was actually on Sky. I could have had that. I could have jeweled it. Leeds have created virtually nothing in this game, in this second half. So Arsenal fans sort of, I'm sure, hoping for a late equaliser, I'm sure. But I don't feel like they've created anything. I don't think they're causing Man City any problems. 10 minutes to go, though. It's only 1-0. Nonto into the box. Cross comes in. Good defending. Maybe this is the start of something for Leeds. Maybe they're going to start upping the tempo here a little bit. Cross comes in. Little flick. Calvert-Lewin. Nonto. Cut back. Man City clear. I've got to up the tempo a little bit here. Make Man City think. Another long throw in. He's got the towel out. You see, this will stop next season. You won't be able to do this. And you shouldn't be able to do this. It's wrong. The stop in play for throw-ins is just ridiculous. Long throw in. Donnarumma. And they clear it away. Hamoud makes a good point. He says City are getting better defensively. Well, Arsenal have built their whole the whole season around it, haven't they? Strong defensively. Gahey was obviously a masterstroke as a signing as well, and they benefited massively from bringing him in. Leeds' last shot was in the 50th minute. I like that stat. That's very interesting to see. They haven't had a shot for half an hour. Well, you're not going to equalise if you can't shoot, as Michael Owen once said. Eight minutes to go. I don't massively like these types of games where it's a one-goal game and the team that's behind just can't create anything. Strong by Gahey there. He's bullied Dan James there, and he's kept the ball in. That's brilliant defending. I mean, Gahey and Semenyo have just stepped. I mean, that's the difference for me. I think if Man City go on and win things in this last however many months of the season, it can't be understated that they went in the January transfer window and bought two of the best players in the league. Ruben Diaz should be booked. Can't shout at a referee like that. No, he won't be booked though. Get away with it all the time, don't they? Should be booked for that. Corner to Leeds. And Bernardo Silva takes a little tumble. Crowding the referee again. Ruben Diaz. Not even the captain. He's going to book somebody here. Book them all, ref. Donnarumma booked. Ruben Diaz isn't even the captain of Man City, and for the last 2 years, when he's not the captain, if he has been the captain, he's not the captain tonight, constantly in the referee's ear. Headed away. He's not the captain. That's why Bernardo Silva's got the captain's armband on his arm, mate. Calvert-Lewin lays it off. Don't shoot from there. Fucking hell. That's just immaturity. Nonto on the back post. Too small. Calvert-Lewin goes down. I don't know what he wanted there. Never a penalty. Bit of pressure here from Leeds. Having a bit of a go. Got to put that cross in. Dan James, never his strongest point. Oh, I tell you what, it was a good cross. Goes out for a corner. Bit of pressure here. Pressure. Well, I tell you what, is that not a handball? That's a handball, surely. I mean, I'm sort of... answers on a postcard. How is that not a handball? The ball has travelled so far. And it's hit his arm. I mean, it's not one of those ones where it's gone 2 meters. How, Peter says, banter aside, how the actual fuck do Man City able to spend like drunken sailors every window? Feels like they'll shop for 2 billion quid every window. Cheat, says Peter. I think they have got the revenue. Indian tonight for me. Thomas, that's what my dinner is. Less of a handball, disallowed McAllister's goal, says Danny on the gas. I know, that's what I mean. Why do you think it's a penalty? Because the ball has travelled fucking ages and his hand's in the air like that and it's landed on his hand. It's not a natural hand movement and the ball has travelled ages. I think it's a penalty. And Leeds have just missed their fucking header. Man City are going to win this. They've had absolutely everything go their way tonight. Dortmund have equalised. I think, yeah, 2-2, 84th minute, 2 goals from Kane, and Svensson has equalised from Schlotterbeck's first goal as well. Big chance for Leeds there. It's going to be Man City's night tonight. It's not Leeds' night tonight, says Ankit. Look, we're all entitled to our opinion, but let's run a poll on it because I don't want it just to be my opinion against loads of individuals. Was it a handball penalty? For me, the ball has travelled ages. His hand is nearly above his shoulder, and it's landed there. I think it doesn't need to be deliberate. Deliberate's not part of the bloody rules, is it? It's a handball. I've definitely seen them given. It's not a natural arm movement to have your hand up like that. The ball's travelled ages. I think it's a handball. The only reason, and also Diaz's hands up in the air as well. I think it's a handball. I think it's a handball. Killswitch says, when you look at the rules, it's a penalty. It's far enough away and the player's hand is away from the body. That's been the rule all season. into the 90th minute. Well, Leeds have had a go in the last 10 minutes, to be fair. Only 6 minutes added on. They've had a go, Leeds, but it just feels like it's not going to be their night. And, you know, across the 90 minutes, you wouldn't even say that Man City have dominated. I think City have had chances. There's the Dan James, I know. Man United fans are like, that's the Dan James we know. Loads of space to put a decent cross in. Couldn't cross his legs. What makes me despise City is that their entire squad would be falling and flailing their arms around if a Leeds defender handballed it. Arrogant cheats. I think if it had happened at the other end, Bart, it would have been a penalty because I think Man City would have the brains to chase the referee and say that's a handball. Leeds didn't react to it enough. Masquerade says, I don't really understand how people think it's not a penalty. Well, reading the chat, it's mainly have a day off, have a word with yourself, never a penalty, but nobody actually explaining why it's not. I haven't seen one chat other than, nah. I mean, for it not to be a penalty, it's either the ball hasn't travelled far enough, i.e. it's very close, well, it travelled nearly half the pitch, and his hand was in a natural position. Well, it wasn't. So it's all right saying, no, it's not a penalty. Tell us why it's not a penalty then. By the rules, tell us why it's not a penalty. Trust me, bro, ain't a reason. I didn't want it to be a penalty, isn't a reason. Like, look at the rules, look at what's happened this season. I can't see a justification for why that's not been given. Have a day off, mate. Yeah, that's not in the rules, mate. Accidental, that's not in the rules either. See, none of these things are a reason for it. Look, Man City are playing the best football. They're going to win the game. Fair play. But we're talking about the PGMOL again. We're talking about VAR again. Just heard about Scammering compensation fees as class of 99. Thank you very much for that. Good cross by Dan James that time. That's not a foul. Fucking hell. Look at Rodri. It's not even a bloody foul and he's lying on his arse. I'd remove this from the game. These types of fouls. Where the player purposely dives to get a free kick. I'd get rid of that. Imagine if he'd played on there and then Leeds had scored and Rodri looks like a diving idiot. I'm running an ultra marathon in the morning and will be wearing my United shirt, says Carl. Lovely stuff. King 7th says it wasn't a penalty because it hit the Leeds arm first. Well, I'd have to see a replay on that. I didn't see that if that happened. About a minute and a half to go. We have had late drama today in the Prem. Is there to be one more attack for Leeds? He's done well there. Doesn't give the free kick. The inconsistency of this referee, what a dickhead. Gives a free kick to Rodri about 60 seconds ago for nothing.
Leeds player gets the same foul, nothing. Peter Banks, well done. You've refereed an absolute shit show here today. Contradiction of the PGMOL continues. Couldn't lie straight in bed, could they? Incredible. And that should be it. 30 seconds to go. Good result for Man City. Bayern Munich have scored late on, by the way. Kimmich, 87th minute, 3-2 in Dortmund. So that will probably give them the title. 64% say it was a penalty. 36% say it wasn't a penalty. I'd love to know the justification for that, other than, trust me, bro, I don't want Arsenal to win the league, because I haven't seen one person explain to us how that wasn't a handball. But I think that's the final whistle. I'm on the United stand at 8 o'clock. And that's the final whistle there. 1-0 to Man City. Nocto says as per the PGMOL, it wasn't an intentional handball. That's not even in the rules. So if the PGMOL have said that, that's hilarious. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I am back on the United stand at 8 o'clock. I think the Leeds manager is having a pop at the referee. And it might have even been about the handball. I don't know. I don't know what Daniel Farke was unhappy about there with the referee. I think he might have got a red card from the referee. That's the great thing if you're a Premier League referee. You can be absolutely shit at your job, and then somebody comes up to you and says, why are you shit at your job? And then you can send that person off as well. Look, that referee's a wanker. He had that red card out before the manager even got to him. They are so up their own. Look at him. Look at the way he won't make any eye contact as well. They're so... They've got no people skills at all, have they? He ran over to have a word with the referee. He had his red card in the air before he even got there, and then he won't even make out... It's like treating him like he's a fucking toddler. They're so condescending. They fuck the game up, and then they stand there not even making eye contact like bloody arrogant twats. Disgusting. PGMOL is shit. I've said it so many times. I'm bored of it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm on the United stand at 8 o'clock. Take care. Stay safe. Don't forget, tomorrow, Arsenal, big pressure now. Man City right behind them. I don't know what's going on here. A bit of pushing and shoving. I don't know what's going on at the end of this game. Surprise, surprise, Ruben Diaz. Just call him the Portuguese Tarkovsky. It'll really wind him up. Yeah, well, so a few things going on at the end of the game. I don't really know what Leeds' issue is. I mean, if they've seen the handball, it might be that. But anyway, pressure on Arsenal tomorrow. We'll be live for that. Take care, stay safe, and I'll speak to you on the next one. 8 o'clock on the United stand. United are going to sign Cole Palmer. No, I'm joking, but there is something about that.